Sometimes when you have the opening shot, you have the story. You know where you start, you know where you're aiming to. Maybe you're not sure of how is it going to end, but you have something to begin with. We knew we're going to tell the story of Viviane Amsalem in like 3 different stages. We knew that Viviane Amsalem would file for a divorce at a certain point.
אז מה העילה לגט הזה?
כבודכם, היא לא אוהבת אותו יותר.
אין עילה.
We had this concept of telling it in 3 films, and the result of the process is Gett.
אני לא חוזרת.
The character of Viviane is inspired by our mother, but it's not an autobiographical film. Our mother never stepped foot in court. She never went to file for a divorce. But along the years, we allowed ourselves to push Viviane to the most radical place. Meaning, what would this woman do having to find her freedom throughout what life is offering to her? Before we even started to shoot the first one, we knew exactly like what we were going to shoot, and for both films, we had the opening shot.
No, Viviane. מה את אומרת, עמרי?
First, she has this dialogue between herself, and that's to take a wife. The second stage is the family, like the big family, the society. In 7 days, she's trying to be an individual in a very enclosed society, very tight, relationship kind of society.
תמיד פחדת ממני, פחדת שאני מקנאה ממך. על מה? על מה, סימונה? לקח שרד החיים שהיו לי עם אליהו? על מה?
After passing that, it's the state, the law, given in the law. And this is Gett.
כבוד הרב, אני לא רוצה לחיות עם האיש הזה. זו זכותי.
זכותך, אך לא בידייך הבחירה, ויביאן. לא,
כן.
לא בידייך הבחירה. כבוד הרב, אילו היה מדובר כאן.
It's been 10 years since we wrote To Take a Wife until we directed Gett. So 3 years are assembled from many changes that we've been through the 10 years. But what was more interesting than the personal changes that we went through is the way our films were perceived in Israel and in the world that changed our objective.
אליהו, יותר טוב שתסתום את הפה שלך עכשיו. אני אומרת לך, יותר טוב שתסתום.
Encore avec tes gros mots, Viviane, surveille ta langue.
Et moi, je te dis, fais attention.
Because when coming to take a wife, we had this idea about Viviane and about everything, but we didn't know how the audiences, the world, like the critics, the dialogue around cinema, how the film is going to be accepted. And when we made To Take a Wife, we understood in many ways that we did something very exceptional in Israeli cinema. Exceptional in the sense that we represent characters that were not represented on the Israeli screen and worldwide. This character of Viviane is a very unique character. The story of the trilogy and my story, it's something I'm obliged to deal with, is like the story of immigration. I was born in Israel, but my parents were born in Morocco, and so first I deal with what we call in Israel the Arab Jews, which is like my family. We are Jews, but we come from Arab countries. Like you have the European Jews, the Ashkenaz, and you have the American Jews. So we are the Arab Jews. In Israel, the Arab culture of the Jews was already almost forgotten because they had to eliminate. They have to eliminate this culture because that was the culture of the enemy. I never seen my mother on the screen, or I never seen myself on the screen.
Viviane. Rentre à la maison, je t'en supplie. Qu'est-ce que tu vas chercher dehors?
Qu'est-ce
que tu vas faire? Rentre.
The languages are, there's the Old Hebrew, which is like the history of this nation. There's the daily Hebrew, which is what's the current time. There's the French, which is like the language of denial, because if you speak French, you're not Arab, you're French. So you speak French, and that's the language of denying who you are.
Et toi, Viviane? Qu'est-ce que tu vas me donner?
You're not Israeli, but you don't want to be Moroccan because you don't want to be Arab, so you speak French.
Qu'est-ce que tu veux?
And then there's the Arabic, that is being talked, and that's the reality, that's the truth of those characters.
בואי נחכה.
שעה וחצי שאנחנו פה.
What was striking for me is to discover through the films and how people see me and how I'm being perceived by Israeli society. For them, it's like something completely exotic. I mean, they see my film as an exotic film, in Israel, not even talking abroad. So of course, there was this huge importance for me to bring onto the Israeli screen the language, the silhouette of these characters, the color of these characters, to make the shots very political. Every close-up, it's about color, it's about silhouette, it's about the color of the eyes, the way that you look, the black hair, the dark skin. These are the contrasts that I'm always like working on.
מה את עושה, גברת אמסלם?
I must say that I didn't do research. I just learned the laws. And the laws are very simple, I could even not study nothing. I could just, be satisfied with knowing that if the husband says yes, it's okay, and if he says no, it's a no. I mean, that was enough for me to write the whole story. Dramatically, it's yes and no.
אז מה קרה? שיניתי את דעתי. שינה את דעתו, כבוד הרב, מה תאמר?
מה תרצה שאומר? לא יכול לומר הלך גיתך במקומו.
כבוד הרב.
I did small research. I wrote it with Renate. We sat down. We wrote the script the way we see it. I have a huge affection to any court scenes, any, it's like one of my favorite genres. Like you cannot find like real. It's difficult today to find like court dramas, like films that are happening in court throughout the whole film. Not even in a radical way like Gett, even just half-half. It's really difficult to find. But you can see Law and Order. It's like there's always the last part of. There's the trial part. It's like my favorite part.
הנה, בבקשה.
כבוד הרב, העדה לא נשאלה ומתפרצת, זה לא בסדר.
איש לא שאל לדעתך.
נו כן, אבל למה הוא מדבר ככה לאחותי? אם אתה מכיר אותה בכלל? מה יש לו נגדה?
שלא תעיזי לצעוק בבית הדין שלי.
But I have this huge affection to this genre, to this type of investigations that are rolling and revolving around themselves. It's like something I'm attracted to.
וידוע לך שאם תמשיך לעמוד בסירובך, אוכל אני לחייב אותך לתת לה גט. באיזו עילה, כבוד הרב?
באיזו עילה?
כן, כבוד הרב, באיזו עילה. לא מספיק ששיקרת.
So it was pretty easy for me to write the scenes. Eventually, when I finished to write the script, of course I wanted to be accurate. Above all, I wanted to present a full and true picture of the situation. So I gave the script to a few experts, 4 of them, and they read the script, all of them, and gave me their remarks. And I had like a few small mistakes in interpreting the laws. But the first response I got was, probably you were born in a rabbinical court, or I don't know how you wrote the script. And he said, we say, there's a phrase in Hebrew, we say, siyata d'shmaya. Siyata d'shmaya is like when God helps you do something. So he said, probably God helped you to write the script.
שומע אתה, היא אינה רוצה לחיות עמך.
זה העונש שלי. זה lui qui décide.
The script that we wrote is very, it's tricky. Because it's like, it's really, there is nothing in the script but dialogues. I mean, there are no descriptions whatsoever. I never write descriptions anyway. Like, I prefer to come to set and to decide. But this was like just a list of dialogues, very sophisticated dialogues. But I understood immediately that it will be, that it's going to be like very tricky to shoot this film, to shoot it on any account. Because I mean, the courtroom is by itself like a little theater, Just the courtroom, as it is, everybody gets up, he says what he has to do, he does a little show, sit down, sometimes somebody comes in and do a little number, goes out, another number, so it's like, and then I say, okay, I have like a series of numbers here, like, it will not make a film. I didn't have like an idea of how do I maintain the suspense in this film and not make it like tissue theater. Throughout the working process, I had this idea of, I love tennis. I really love tennis, and I watch tennis, and I had this idea of a tennis game. You know, I have like, you watch and you like move your head from here to here to here, and you can watch like a 3 hours tennis game, and it's full with tension. You're like excited, and you get up, and I mean, I said, I want to have. Is it possible to create this type of sensation, this type of competition between these like people in this court? You know, like, and also treat it like that you have this game and a match and a little game and another game, and you win points and another point. Like, you know, really, this was my image. And then also like you know, watching tennis, you have to do your head like this. But I mean, what would happen if I can be in the point of view of the players?
Il était seulement satisfait de ce qu'il avait obtenu. En plus, il me faisait encore la tête, Zama.
C'est Cheikh Erkoud Arabe. Je lui ai parlé 1000 fois, je lui ai parlé.
Tu m'as parlé?
Oui, je t'ai parlé.
Tu m'as parlé, toi? Je l'ai jamais vu.
Meaning to see the ball coming at me at 200 kilometers an hour speed. You know, like what would happen if I could be in these places and not be objective about the situation. Meaning there is no fourth wall in this film. You know, there is no objective shot. Choosing to shoot it in one room was already radical. Then I said, to complete it and to make it sensible, we have to like complete it with another radical choice. And that was like the choice of shooting the film only from the point of view of the characters. Meaning the camera is always placed in the eyes level in the exact same place that an actor is sitting or a character is sitting. They're always looking like this. They never have an actor in front of them, and they have to talk to the eyes of the other actor, meaning to the eye, to the lens. They almost, throughout the whole film, they're looking either to the lens or to somebody that another character near the lens, but most of it is like a direct look. Everybody were very scared about this because everybody were afraid that the film will not cut because there is no reverse shot. It's always like 90 degrees, like, you know, it's like this, and there's nothing like this. So how do you connect the? So we shot 2 days. I wanted to shoot 2 days, and after these 2 days, we actually started the shoot just a little before the weekend to do this trial. We shot these 2 days, and after 2 days, we went to the editing room and we connect all the shots to see. Everybody was like hysteric about it, and I said, okay, you know, 2 days. If it's not working, I can always shoot it in a regular way, like. And we went into the editing room and we connected the shots, and it connected. It was very strong. It was very strong because it was very intimate, and you know, we edited the scene in like half an hour. It was like, it's the first scene of the film, and there was something very bizarre and intense, and it looked like everybody's looking at you all the time, but at the same time they're looking at each other. In my other film that I did, Testimony, I already shot this way. It's testifies looking straight to the camera, and so when I went for the editing room at the other film, I discovered this, that when you shoot in 90 degrees, it looks like the actor, of course, is looking at the audience, but when you cut it to another shot like this, it looks like the actors are looking at each other and to the audience at the same time. So I took advantage of this discovery and put it into Gett, but Gett was more dangerous because I had a multiply room. In Testimony, there was only one actor looking to the camera and then another actor to the camera. And Gett was like this 360 degrees washing machine, you know, of different point of views. What was interesting though in shooting Gett is that we discovered that with this method of shooting, we can stretch the room. Because I'm shooting one actor that is looking at another actor, but the camera is here, and actors know camera, so they want to play to the camera and they want to play to the other actor, you know, so they're kind of, you know, stretches, and then I shoot him from the other angle for the same scene, and then it's like stretches to here, and then I shoot from the back, somebody's looking at him from the back, and eventually I take every actor and I like make a star out of it, you know, like, so the room is expanding and expanding and expanding, like, yeah, you're in the same room, you're locked, you're clogged, but you're always, there is always a movement, there is a movement, and the movement is in the cut, and there's maybe 1,200 cuts in this film. They're cutting and reconstructing the space again and again and again and again, so you never, I mean, for me, I mean, you don't feel you're like, you don't feel you're stuck. And I don't think Viviane is stuck. I think Viviane progresses, you know. She's not a victim, she progresses. She sits on this chair, but she's progressing and progressing. And also the method of shooting enabled me to place the audience in different spots in the room, like really to place them there, you know, to let them be Alicia, to let them be Viviane, to let them be. So at a certain point, without explaining it, without any psychology, I kind of giving you the opportunity to really sit there. So yeah, you might feel that you like Alicia. From his point of view, you know, it's like, or from her point of view, you know. And the interesting thing that we discovered is even though we changed the point of views, there's something in the core of the film that stays like, that doesn't change. You know, I mean, if you change the POV in such a radical way in cinema, usually you change the reality of the situation. And we discovered that here, you see the same picture all the time. That was interesting. What we did also, one of the decisions was not to light the film from inside. I mean, there are some neons there, like court neon, you know, like that they're there, and we're shooting a lot of ceilings and floors. But for every scene, we try to figure out what kind of day is it outside. Is it winter? Is it summer? Is it morning? Is it just gray? I mean, are there cars? Is it traffic? You know, and then we started to build this like script light, and we kind of lit the film from outside because we shot in location, not in studio, and immediately a conflict was created between the neon light that is repeating itself at every scene and what's coming from outside, and the war between the natural light and the interior light and the moods that it creates. We did the same thing with the sound, you know, like we really built like we worked on the sounds for months, just like, you know, for every scene we built a whole setup of sound that was happening outside before we even touched the room. So only after finishing the room and finishing the outside, we kind of mixed together the outside, the exterior, and the interior. So there is a constant presence of the exterior in the room. It means that you don't think about like light and sound, so you're always like drawn in through these elements.
אני סיימתי כאן. חפשו לכם דיין אחר.
We're brother and sister, we're men and women. We come from two very strong political backgrounds. You know, it took us a long time in the process of working to discover the essence of our relationship. Like discovering that we could listen to each other for days and days and days. That was like something very strong. At the beginning, when we worked, we used to talk a lot. You know, the writing of the process writing, we close ourselves in a room for like weeks, and we write together, and then we rehearse together. We shoot together before we even bring or invite anyone into the work. We used to talk a lot, you know, preparing. And today, we don't need to talk so much anymore, but we do need to look at each other. So during the shoot, we're always in eye contact. We just look at each other the whole time. I know where she stands, and I know if she has a solution to the problem that we see together, or is she lost? And she knows the same about me. So, you know, if I know that she has a solution, I go say, okay, give it to me. You know, it's like, come on, let me have it. You know, and we might agree. Or if not, you know, she would come to me and say, okay, so what do you want to do? You know, she sees that I don't have an answer to the... So we have this like ongoing dialogue.
תן לי את החופש שלי! תן לי את החופש שלי! תן לי אותו! תן לי את הגט שלי! תן לי את הגט שלי!
זה לא בכוח.
תן לי! תן לי!
חבל על הזמן, ויויאן. הוא לא ייתן.
תן לי את הגט שלי!
Viviane is very interesting. It's, for me, she's very interesting. Not only because it's like inspired by my mother, but I kind of, you know, I'm rewriting my mother's life. You know, it's like it's not her life anymore. It's completely different. But I'm like rewriting sometimes, but I think she would have wanted to happen.
והרי את מותרת לכל אדם.
The film is out in Israel now for the last 10 days. It's good. It's the talk of the day for the last 3 weeks. You know, like everybody goes to see the film. You know, you cannot enter this court in Israel. It's not like it's not an open court. So you have to get a divorce in order to see what's going on. So you're like, you know, in order not to be surprised, we supply the Israeli people a key to these doors. It's like a key. They can go in. They can see. They can have their own impression on the situation. I can tell you that there's a big thing going on around the film. There's like major government members, like the Minister of Justice wrote a huge post on her Facebook last week. Also different parliament members. There's going to be a very big convention in one of the biggest universities in Israel with the film, with hundreds of lawyers and parliament members and ministers that are going to watch it and have like this full convention day. I mean, things that are happening are very, very interesting. And the film is very well received in Israel. I mean, usually when you have critique towards the place you come from, you're being rejected. But with Gett, people like kind of take it, you know, they accept it.
למה כבר שנתיים אני נכנסת ויוצאת בדלתות שלכם ושום דבר לא זז? למה? אתם אומרים שאי אפשר...
Many times, you know, we see something in cinema and we want to be it, so we're imitating it. So, I mean, whatever the process can be, maybe with the new awareness, maybe Gett can bring a new way of thinking.